Hi, welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London. And you can find me as Skeindeer on Instagram and Ravelry. And there's also the Ravelry group called Skeindeer Knits, and currently there's a KAL going on there for my mitten design, and it's gonna finish up at the 31st of March. So there's still plenty of time for those of you who have yet to cast on the mittens to do so, because they knit up really quickly and I have to warn you, they are rather addictive. And in addition to that, I'm actually gonna start hosting my classes again. I initially designed the mittens for some classes that I am hosting at Knit with Attitude in London, so if you are in or near London for the end of March, then that's something you might want to look into. That would be super cool. I'd be very happy if you decide to sign up for that. And yeah, that's what I kind of wanted to open with. Just getting all the business out of the way before we get right into finished objects, because I have one and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever made. I don't know if it's like, oh, my favorite ever, but it's like, it looks like $1 million. It's just, I've never made anything that's so, it's so beautiful. It's almost not my style because it's so beautiful, but I'm gonna probably wear it like wherever. But I have to give you a spoiler warning before I bring this project up, because it is this normal show by Helen Stewart, so some of you might not want to be spoiled, so just look away now. I will hopefully remember to tell you when you can come back. But yeah, here we go. Oh, look at that. Oh my god, it is so incredibly gorgeous, and this is like so far away from what I normally knit. I can't believe this came out of my hands. It just, I mean, like any other shawl, it transformed so much after blocking. I was not prepared for this at all. Let me see if I can go back a bit so you can see it in full. I mean, just, it has this perfect drapiness, and the colours used, I used the exact same colours that Helen Stewart recommended. So it is a fade kit by La Bien-Aimée, the dyer in Paris, who is brilliant, and I'm definitely going to be all over their stand at Edinburgh. I don't know what to say really. There's, yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering, like, is this perfect because I actually stuck to the instructions? Usually I do so many things, kind of modifications, etc. in my projects that I guess kind of harsh on myself for having done those modifications, whereas here I couldn't, because it's a Mr. KAL, you don't know what's coming next, you can't really modify. And so in my eyes now, everything's perfect. I just want to wear it for you. Can I do that? Let's do that, shall we? So, look at that. Oh, I feel like I look like a bride in this. It's so gorgeous. I don't know. Is it too pretty for Edinburgh? Can I just wear this? It looks like I'm solely wearing it for show off, and I'm not gonna lie, probably why. It's just so pretty. You want to close it? Oh, the sun is kind of making it look a bit wonky, but you get the idea. I am mildly obsessed with this, so maybe I just wear it throughout the episode as well. Just have it here. Oh, I'm so proud. I'm proud of myself for having actually made something like this. It is quite far away from what I normally do, so I mean, I guess I should have said that already. Those of you who are new, welcome first of all. Thank you for watching, but I want to like give you a heads up that this is not the kind of thing I normally make on this podcast. I think that pillow over there is kind of more representative of the kind of things that I do. I'm a colorwork knitter. I like rustic yarns, but I am also deadly curious about what everybody else are knitting and what's the deal with the sort of luxury yarns, hand-dyed yarns, and so on. So I want to have a bite of that cake as well, so now I have. And yeah, I mean, I like everything, to be honest. I don't see why you have to be either or, but from now on I think we're going to go back to my more traditional knitting. And so, as some of you might remember from the last episode, I picked up a UFO from 2015. 2015 was a bit of a rubbish year, and I cast this cardigan on, and it was like I had so many problems with even casting on and getting all the numbers right, because my head was just like a mess. So it's taken a bit of courage to pick it back up, but I'm really picking it back up. It has sleeves now, which is like, so this is the cardigan in question. So these are the sleeves, and I mean, I feel like I should mention this is Aroma Design. It's a Norwegian yarn producer and designer of traditional garments and all this stuff. And having said that though, it's very little of the pattern I'm really committing to here. So what I follow with the pattern is that the stitch count number for the yoke and my size, I cast that on and I knitted the yoke up according to the pattern, left the neck stitches on the needles. You're supposed to do that before steeking, but obviously I don't have a body yet, so I'm now knitting the body down, I'm knitting the sleeves down. And from here on out, I'm not really adhering to the pattern at all. I mean, I'm using the sort of lice chart, as this is called. Though technically it's called fleece when it's upside down, apparently. So that's what you get when you're knitting down instead of up. So, I mean, I got the sleeve number, stitch count number for the sleeves right. But for the body, I have done a 50, instead of a 50-50 divide of the front and back stitches of the body, I've actually done a 40-60 divide. So the back here has 40% of the body stitches and the front has 60%, which for me makes sense, because whether it's bust or belly, whatever makes you a larger size, that will be in the front. You don't really gain size on your back, so if you're going to do a larger size from whatever smaller size is, the increases should mainly be at the front, in my opinion. And I've tried this out and it looks really nice. Gets some slight like bulking here, but it's not too much. It doesn't really upset me, and it's perfectly like nice and stretched out over the back. Well, not too stretched out, if it's just right. And so I got to the sleeves, and there's no rib here, so this bit here is supposed to happen before the rib, and there's supposed to be a mini chart repeat before that, and then there's a rib for the cuff. I don't do a rib, so what I've done is a knit two together yarn over, and then I knitted the inside and sewn it on the inside like this. I think it just looks so much more, I guess, luxurious in a way. It looks like something you wear to a sort of nicer event, more so than just an everyday cardigan. Maybe that's just my sort of folk tradition kind of thinking, that that's kind of what the more formal knitwear would look like as opposed to the more everyday knitwear. So I've done the same on both sides. The sleeves are done. Like when I had finished the sleeves, I just felt like, yeah, I'm gonna nail this cardigan. It's gonna be done until Edinburgh. And I'm feeling still quite optimistic. So just to give you a heads up, I'm recording this on Monday actually. I'm not putting this up until Thursday because I like to stick to my uploading schedule. I can't do the normal filming on Wednesday because that's when I'm heading up to Edinburgh for the yarn festival, and I can't film on Tuesday because my boyfriend's gonna be here because we're not gonna see each other for a whole week. And so Monday it is, and so that's why I haven't gotten any further. So for those of you watching this on Thursday, it might be done. There will probably be a picture, a very happy proud picture on Instagram if it is done in time. So this is how much I have left. I was gonna do some waist decreases here, but I mean, I'm not the same size that I was when I cast this on, and that's absolutely fine. So if I don't need any decreases, I'm still gonna crop it, so it's gonna stop right here, and I'm only like this far away from that. And yeah, so far so good. So basically I think I've gotten that far already actually. So when I pick this up again, I will repeat this chart that the sleeves have here. That's really how long it's going to be. I don't want it to be any longer, and that's going to give it a very nice fitted shape, even though it doesn't have any increases or decreases. I've rambled on enough about this cardigan now, so the plan after that is steeking. So I have been asked if I'm going to film it, and I might. If I'm doing this on the train, it's obviously going to be very difficult. Steeking on the train, like, am I crazy? I might be. But yeah, if it's happening on a train in Edinburgh or something like that, it might be very difficult to set up, but it could also be easier because, I mean, I will be surrounded by knitters. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have time to do it before Edinburgh, and that, in which case I will definitely be able to film it for you. I'm not the best at filming knitting live. I mean, you've seen my tutorials, they could be better, let's be honest. So I'm going to try to do that, and after I steeked, I'm basically going to pick up for the button bands, and I'm going to do the same thing that I've done with the sleeves. So knit a bit of stocking net in black, do yarn over, knit two together all the way in the or back and forth in this case, and fold it over and do it and like kind of repeat on the inside until I can sew it on here and hide the steek, the cutting edge, inside there, and kind of, yeah, I guess it's like a sandwich wrap steek thing. I think Kate Davies has something like that online. So that's the plan. It's gonna be a bit tricky with the buttonholes, but I have done it before, so it's possible. And yeah, there is hope for this thing. After 2 years, there is hope. So I mean, if I'm gonna be done with my whole Edinburgh outfit, it will be this cardigan, it will be this shawl, and it will be these black yarn mittens for the Black Pot KAL. So I mean, that's gonna be my Edinburgh outfit. None of this really goes together, but they're not in stark contrast either, so I'm just gonna say it's acceptable. It is acceptable, and I'm very happy to have 3 finished garments for the whole thing. I kind of feel like I should have topped it off with a hat, but you know, me and hat knitting, we don't really get on. I'm probably just gonna wear my slouchy alpaca sockhead slouch hat. Maybe I'll bring my pussy hat, maybe. So this is a slightly more rambly episode than the usual. I really don't have that much to cover this time, I'm afraid. It's not been a whole week since last time I recorded, obviously, so we're just gonna, yeah, have a bit of a rambling, informal podcast today. So I went to the knitting and stitching show. That's not the best idea to do just before going to the biggest yarn festival in the world, is it? But I did. I got a press pass, and this is kind of weird though, because I had to collect it at the box office there, and I basically just went over there and said, I'm here to get my press pass, and they just gave it to me, no questions asked, no evidence for like the email or anything. So I guess anyone could have done that. That's kind of odd. But yeah, I'm kind of happy I got that pass, to be honest, because it was more like the sewing and quilting show. I mean, I've kind of been warned about that this time of year. There's more of a sewing focus because summer is coming, whereas in the autumn there's more of a knitting focus because winter's coming, and people are oddly seasonal about their knitting in this country. For me as a Norwegian, that doesn't make any sense. Why do you not knit in the summer for the winter? You could just knit smaller things if you're worried that it's going to be too hot. But I'm just thinking, like, you're not going to be able to bring your sewing machine outside, but you can bring like a pair of mittens or socks or a hat or something outside. You can knit in cotton and linen. Yeah, the seasons don't stop me from knitting, that's for sure. So yeah, I wasn't disappointed. It was kind of what I was expecting, but I guess I was disappointed that there was so few knitting things as there were. But there was still good stuff there, and I of course bought things. I bought these adorable and overpriced panda things for Hiya Hiya needles. Oh, let me take them out for you. So these are basically Hiya Hiya's needle stoppers. They are so cute. When I say something is overpriced, it doesn't mean I think it's bad. Like, I've complained previously about signature needles being overpriced. That doesn't mean I don't like them. I've never tried them. I'd love to try them. But I think at some point, like, come on, how much money can you put on needles? I mean, I'm really certain like they're gonna be brilliant. And if anyone has them at Edinburgh, probably gonna be all over them, not gonna lie. So I also got a short circular by KnitPro, because you can't really have too many short circulars, and I kind of like to try every brand, because with short circulars, brand really matters. Like with 9-inch circulars, I can't use Addies at all, but I love Chiagoos. Yet I don't like Chiagoos in any other kind of needle. I don't like their cables personally, but they're short circulars. Good stuff. So now I'm gonna try KnitPro as well. And I got some interchangeable Hiya Hiyas. It was size 2 and 2.25. Couldn't find the 2.5. Was the only one I'm lacking right now, so if I see it in Edinburgh, I'm gonna be all over that as well. What's a bit annoying though is that apparently interchangeable needles of Hiya Hiya are smaller than 275 need an other cable size, or maybe a converter, I'm not sure. That I didn't know. I thought they had 2 cable sizes, so if you're over, I think, size 5mm or something like that, then you need a adapter. But I didn't know you could have another size below 2. I guess I should have realized, because the connecting thing is wider than 2. But yeah, I'll have to get something to be able to actually use these needles. Oh well. But did you buy any yarn, I hear you say? Of course I bought yarn. So a bit of a crinkly bag sound here. I of course got, and I'm planning to binge buy this yarn at Edinburgh as well, but I got 2 skeins of Jamieson's Ultra. So one black and one white. Don't know how this is gonna affect the camera. So I love this yarn so much. Let me tell you why, because this is a 25-gram skein of 2-ply pure wool of 194 meters. I would be impressed by 195 meters, 194, sorry, in a 50-gram skein. So when it's in a 25-gram skein, I'm going nuts. And it is lace weight, but I am planning on using these in a pair of collarwork mittens. I talked about these mittens before. It's a pair of Latvian mittens that I am going crazy over. They are so gorgeous, and I think if I can use this fine wool, I might be able to nail the size, because I know a lot of people who have made them and posted it on Ravelry have had issues with the size. It usually becomes like bare hand size. I don't know if bears have hands, but there you go. They become very big, so I'm hoping to be able to make them as small as possible. What I'm going to do with this when I get it at Edinburgh is actually making a Kate Davies cardigan. I will get back to that in a bit, but I imagine this is going to knit up fine at the 30 stitch gauge. It's, yeah, fine, but not too fine. Let me just give you a close-up. So yeah, should give you an idea of what it's like. It doesn't look that different from, you know, their Spindrift yarn. It's a bit finer, but Spindrift actually looks remarkably thick, I think, for what it is. So if you don't know what I'm rambling on about now, this is like my usual preference for yarn that manages to have a lot of meterage without gaining any weight. Not to weight shame our precious yarns. I just think if you have, you know, say you are knitting a pattern and the pattern recommends you use lots of 50-gram skeins of yarn that has 175 meters each. That's totally fine. I love that. That's my favorite yarn is like that. But imagine if you could replace it with something that has maybe, say, 200 or 250 meters each. You're going to need a lot fewer 50-gram skeins, so your garment will be lighter, and I think that is more appealing when you're eventually going to wear it and bring it around places. So that's kind of why I'm kind of obsessed with the weight of something that I knit. Now, the other yarn that I bought is Drops Flora. So I got 4 skeins. This is one of them. A lovely kind of brick coloured red. And the thing about Drops Flora, aside from costing £2 per skein, is it is an alpaca wool blend. You've heard me talk about alpaca before, and I love alpaca in certain garments, but not really in colour work. But this is exactly what I plan to do with this, because I think a alpaca wool blend, that's a whole different story, because the wool is still the majority of the fibre in this. Let me show you the full set of skeins. It's probably going to be 2 pairs of mittens. So I'm thinking, sorry, one is upside down, one with the white and the yellow, and this yellow is the yellowest yellow I've ever seen. And white and red. This is a bit more muted. I love that as well. So yeah, colourwork mittens with alpaca. I know, I'm going against everything I've ever said. It doesn't feel very sticky, so I'm kind of skeptical, but for like Christmas gift knits, totally fine. I don't think they're gonna have any issues with it, even though I might prefer my pure wools. But yeah, as long as the wool is in the majority, I think it's not going to be a huge problem if there's some alpaca in your yarn. You can really do colour work with just about anything. I'm just saying, like, maybe not use alpaca if you want the result that you're seeing in pictures. I know kind of what I'm getting into here, so, well, I don't really, but I think it will be okay. It won't be my preferred colour work yarn, but I will enjoy it, and it will be nice and easy to give away to people who are fussy about yarn softness and that kind of thing. Oh, I keep waving my hand so much, I keep dropping my precious shawl. I think I'm gonna look for a shawl pin at Edinburgh. That's one of my purchase list. A little pin here, wouldn't that be nice? Something just to clasp these together. Oh, I look like a bride in this. Oh, it's so pretty. So, I mean, like I said, it's not much going on for this episode because there's not been much time since the last one. But I thought we could talk about my Edinburgh cast-ons, because I have some plans for Edinburgh. I want to knit a shawl, and I think I might have mentioned this shawl before. I might actually not. So this shawl has been a huge deal in Norway. gonna scoot aside so that we can look at a picture of it. So it's the lovely leaf shawl, and it's by Sticky Lisa. So she's a Norwegian knitting designer. I don't know how much she exports beyond Norway. I have not heard many of the international podcasters talk about her. I think she's a brilliant designer. She has recently been published in, I guess what you could say is the new Norwegian equivalent of Pom Pom. It's a really cool magazine. I wish I could get my hands on it. Yeah, I want to make her shawl. I think it's been like such a hype all over Norway, and it really appeals to me. It seems simple enough for me to just enjoy whilst in Edinburgh. It's stripes back and forth, some increases here and there. I love the shape. I think I would really like that. It's symmetrical, which I really like, you know, me and my symmetrical shorts. And I think wrapping around my neck will be more of an easy ordeal than maybe of the usual crescent shapes that I've been struggling with. So very excited to try it. What makes me more excited is the yarn I'm going to use. Now forgive me, this yarn looks a little bit sort of out of, I don't know. It's been wrapped up in plastic, very sort of compressed, so it looks a bit shabby, but this yarn, I am so in love with this yarn. You can maybe remember how excited I was about buying it after being in Norway. I bought it there, and I love this so much. It is a bit on the harder side. It's like, it's not scratch free, but I think it's not too scratchy, and I think this is something that's going to wash up super soft. Like, I predict that anyway. And this is made by Norwegian pelsullgarn, which means fur wool yarn. So fur wool sheep is a breed of sheep that we have, and they just have the loveliest wool. Oh, I just love this so much. Look at it, look at it. Oh, look at this red. It's this amazing burgundy red. Oh, I could go on and on. So let's just read up some of the specs. So for 100 grams skein, it has 350 meters. Totally decent amount of yardage there. Obviously they recommend a tighter gauge than what I'm going to knit it at. I'm probably going to aim more for 15 stitches per 10 centimeters, more so than the recommended 25 stitches, because I'm sure they had a more traditional Norwegian knitting type garment in mind for this, but I am, as always, looking away from the recommended needle size and gauge, because that's just what I do. So it will go into a very nice and loose shawl, but I feel like this will be a very sturdy shawl nonetheless because of the fibre that I will be using. So it's a lovely, delicious rustic yarn. Oh, I love this so much. So I should also say that it's made by Hillesvåg. These are one of the precious few pure Norwegian yarn producers in Norway that makes amazing yarn. I've had such good experience with their Usk yarn, which I have knitted 3 pairs of mittens with. So 2 skeins, one of each colour, was enough for 3 pairs of mittens, minus the thumbs of the last pair. I had to borrow some yarn for that. So yeah, I think pretty good going. So if I finish my cardigan ASAP, this is going to be my next project, and I'm very excited because once you cast off one shawl, you're really itching to make the next one, right? So I just know I have to finish the cardigan first. If I stop this now, there's no hope. Another thing I'm hoping to make, and this is something I have mentioned before, is the Snow White mittens. So they're called Snøhvit, but that means Snow White in Norwegian, and I want to use the Laland yarn by these people. I am not going to try to pronounce this Scottish name, but and they're going to be at Edinburgh for anyone who wishes to buy them there. So, and if you are curious about pure wools and you're scared of scratchiness, I mean, I've not tried to knit with this yet, but it's the softest yarn ever. It is so soft, and it is non-superwash. It is pure lamb's wool. It has 2 plies, very loosely plied together. So if you don't want this to be the weight that it is, you could actually like untwist the plies and knit something finer. So yeah, it's very versatile from what I'm looking at. It's got 175 meters, which for me would make it classify as a fingering weight, but the people selling it said it was DK, whereas I think on Ravelry it's classified as sport. So that kind of tells you how versatile it is. And if you consider that you could untwist the plies, it's even more versatile down to lace weight. So yeah, kind of obsessed with this. I want to knit with it soon to see what it can do. So for now, we're just going to have some kind of lacy mittens. But yeah, I also want to cast on something colour work. Like, imagine me going around Edinburgh and meeting lots of people and not being able to like flash my colour work anywhere. No, I need to knit some colour work as well. I might just do the other sock for this. or I'm just going to publish the pattern with a picture of just the one sock. I have made a pair already, it's just that I gifted it and I wanted to make another pair to show the colours that you could use. And I kind of have, I'm going to make the full pair and I could update the pattern for that, so maybe if people want the pattern ASAP, I could do that, because at least one of my test kniters have finished and the other ones have finished at least one sock each. So it is pretty gone through and I know which improvements to put in, and they're quite simple. The pattern is pretty much good to go. So I'm just being a perfectionist. So guys, please tell me, how perfectionist should I be about this? Should I wait until I made the last sock, or just put up pictures of the one sock and say enjoy the pattern? I don't know. Oh dear, decisions. So yeah, I might just bring the other sock along as well. And I really want to make the shine mittens by the California podcast, by Pia in the California podcast. They're so pretty and I have the yarn for it. And let's be real, I'm probably going to buy more of Ullcentrum's yarn in Edinburgh. So this is a Swedish rustic yarn. So good. I have 2 skeins already, which I have not used yet. I bought them at Yarnporium in London, and I will knit it up, I will. And I really love the black yarn I have because it looks like a natural black more so than the dyed black you often get. Even in Norway there's only dyed black. I like more natural black sheep wool. So yeah, maybe I should get more of that. Oh. So for the end of the podcast I want to mention another designer. So I made that kind of a routine now, and so far I have mainly covered smaller designers, people who we might still not have heard about and I really think that you should have heard about. Now I'm gonna gush about Kate Davies. Now, so when I joined Ravelry many years ago, it was a bit of a sort of culture shock for me, a reverse culture shock. It's kind of when you notice the water you've been swimming in all your life. Because I was like, I want to see, you know, every other country's equivalent of the Marios, you know. I want to see what people knit from there, and I didn't see any of that. I just saw lots of these modern things that didn't seem to have a root to any particular place, and it wasn't color work. And I was just like, well, this is different and unexpected. And hindsight, I mean, I should have been a bit more expecting that things are not going to be like it is where I'm from. Like, yeah. So I was a bit confused until I found Kate Davies. And then I was like, oh, I'm home. And of course, it's like Scottish knitting. How far away from Norway is it really? So it's not that surprising. And I've been a huge fan ever since. And it was actually her owl sweater was my very first sweater. Alongside making the owl sweater, I did make a Marius dress. But yeah, that took me a while. So I managed to make my first sweater. And I still have it. So I apologize for the sunlight. I might make this look a bit weird. But this is it. And it looks a bit wonky now because it's been wrapped up in plastic because of my moth anxiety, which is so far unfounded. But anyway. So this is what it looks like. It's got cables that look like owls. Look at that. And it's been so many years and I've yet to sew on the eyes of the owls. It is a very lovely sweater. And this is again one of those times when I'm thinking I never wore this sweater because I found it too scratchy to wear. And now I'm like, this is not scratchy. What was I thinking? This is soft. This is so soft. And I mean, to be fair though, I have given her a few rounds with the hair conditioner and stuff, so that's one reason. And I should just wear it more because it's just lovely and it's such a quick knit. If you've never made a jump before, owl sweater, just do it. Don't be scared of cables. Cables are so much easier than they look, and there's so little cabling on this. And you can skip the cabling if you want, to be honest. And it's got lovely shaping. My only complaint is that it suggests that you do the same shaping so that you are the same width hip-wise as chest-wise, which I don't know if anyone is. So I made the hips wider. There's an end here I have yet to weave in. Is anyone surprised? So yeah, I prefer to make the hips wider, so do those, so cast on basically a larger size I'm going to use and do some more decreases. So yeah, my owls. And I love the owls so much that I made another one. So it's not often I can say that I make a sweater design twice, but the owl sweater, totally knit worthy to make again, I mean. And yeah, they don't have eyes. I have the buttons for it, but it's just not happened yet. Don't recommend the yarn, to be honest. I used Drops Big Merino It's lovely soft. I am perhaps happier to wear this than the other one, but it doesn't look very nice. It's too, I mean, it looks perfectly fine, but comparison, look at this. You can see my hand through. It's like just a web. It's not created a fabric, you know, it doesn't kind of melt into each other. Whereas this, can you see my hand? I'm going to try to stretch it really hard now. Now you can see it. So that's the difference. It actually binds together when you're using a non-superwash pure wool, and it's so much better for this jumper. So if you can find maybe a softer yarn than the Cascade Eco if you are more sensitive than I am. I mean, try Blueface Leicester. I think it's a good compromise. We'll get some DK lamb's wool. But yeah, merino is not the best result for this. It becomes quite heavy as well. But yeah, I still like wearing it, so it's not a horrible idea by all means. And it's a super quick knit. I said it before. You can just whip this thing up, and it's not a big sort of commitment cast on. I really like that one. Perhaps not the most representative of Kate Davies' style. I just thought I'd start off with the stuff that I made first. Another of her designs is the Epistrophe cardigan. It is so beautiful. If you've ever seen it, it's just instant cast on need. So this is my Epistrophe. And again, I'm not really listening to my own device about choosing a nice pure wool. But the reason being is that I was under a very tight budget, whereas the only yarn that I really felt like using was Drops Baby Merino. I think I already had plenty of it, so that's kind of why that was my decision, even though this calls for a DK pure wool non-superwash. Oh well, it's nice in a sense because it's so light that I could just carry it with me anywhere and not worry. So it's kind of what I said before, when you use something that weighs very little, it's no issue for me to just ball this together and shove it into my bag, and it's not taking up any space really. But yeah, in hindsight, I'd probably go with the fingering weight, maybe sport weight lamb's wool. Probably would have suited my needs as well. But having said that though, I'm very impressed with Drops Baby Merino. It pills a lot less than their thicker merinos, it pills a lot less than other merinos I've seen, so I'm not gonna not recommend it. But yeah, you can sort of see the effects it has on colour work. It's alright, but it would have looked better had I used a different fibre. But I still love it, and I love the design. I think it's so simple but so appealing, and I wouldn't have dreamt of using any other colours. So I mean, normally I prefer wearing dark colours and preferably black. Probably my old goth days coming back at me. But for this one, I couldn't see using any other colours than the one she'd used. So it's just, yeah, had to be these, and I'm happy to wear it. And I made the button bands sort of wrap around the steek, just like I've talked about doing with the cardigan I'm now working on. So the steek is completely invisible. It's wrapped in here. Because this is double and the steek is inside, it gets quite heavy at the front relative to the actual garment. And I really like that effect because it makes the garment, you can see how light it is. Sorry, I keep doing this. Just when I'm wearing it, you can just see it's sort of just floating around my body instead of looking tight around my body, which for someone who's slightly on the bigger side feels very good, even when wearing a bright colour. So it's sort of, it doesn't take away my confidence, even though I feel like it's a bit more exposed than maybe a darker garment. God, I have so many nice things to say about her designs. I guess some improvements I would have made if I knew how to is maybe doing short rows in the neck. I don't like how the neck is as low as it is in the front. I'd rather the front be lower and the neck higher. And my row gauge is so short that it becomes a bit sort of tight from here to up here. That's more of just my way of knitting, so I should maybe have knitted it a bit longer from here before starting the colour work. Oh well, hindsight, it's still lovely, and I love wearing this thing, especially now that it's getting a little bit warmer. It's just perfect. And I've also knitted Miss Rachel's gauntlets, and this is my first pair, and I made a second pair, but I have gifted them to a friend of mine for Christmas. I just used the 2 pairs to swatch for my Miss Rachel's yoke, and just put a picture in here. And yeah, it is. I love these colours, this combination. I think it looks so impressive, especially given just how simple it is. You're carrying 2 strands of colours, but you're getting this whole colour thing. So would definitely recommend if you are slightly hesitant about colour work, but you want to go straight to the fine stuff. These are pretty good. They're not actually very complicated. If you've done a pair of socks that you used to work in a short circumference project in the round, you can totally have a go at this. It's gorgeous. Kate Davies is going to be at Edinburgh, so that's probably going to be one of the first places I will run to. I am such a fangirl, I'm not going to apologise. Yeah. I might want to go look at a yarn for a hap. I might get her yarn for a hap even. I've been sort of hesitant about her yarn. I mean, it's everything I love, but it's being recommended. I mean, it's been classified as a sport yarn and recommended for sport yarn to fingering weight yarn garments, things with that kind of gauge. So something that thick, something that has that few meters for a 50-gram skein. I think it's 110. For me, that's DK. I'd like to knit it with something with a 22 stitch gauge to 10 centimeters and down. So I've not wanted to use it for this. So I've used the Roma Finul yarn. And I've got plenty over here. So you can see there's some brown here and this is the contrast colors. So it's all ready to go into the Miss Rachel's sweater. Although, probably gonna steek it and make it a cardigan. For those of you who wonder how I'm gonna do that, it's basically adding how many stitches you want. I'm gonna add 7 stitches in the middle to the garment. They will be whatever color I'm carrying around. It's important to kind of knit with both of those colors for that center. So maybe alternate the 2 colors or knit them double. You do what you want. Just so that there's no loose floats where you're cutting. And with this kind of yarn, you can just cut. No sewing machine needed. And oh, I really want to get her yarn. I think I want to get her. I want to make one of her haps or some other hap. I wasn't super keen on her hap book because it's a shawl book more than a hap book, but it's still a very good book by all means. But I want to make a super traditional hap. So let's have a look at the haps. So book of haps, or book of shawls as I want to call it. Yeah, hap is a very distinct sort of Scottish shawl, and I don't know if this covers that. It's more of a collection of shawls in my opinion, which is fine. They're good shawls. But yeah, I want to do the hexa hap. So just giving you a picture here. Look at that. It's just that it requires 13 skeins, so it's quite the commitment. Can I show you this without giving away any pattern? Yeah. Oh, I want it though. I want it. It's another hap as well, which there's not much detail in the picture. Oh, I skipped it. So this one, I would use other colors, and it also requires so much yarn. It will be quite the investment. But yeah, I'm more intrigued by using pure wool and thicker pure wools for shawls now than I have been previously. Probably gonna do everything, to be honest, but that's my thinking process right now. It's another booklet of hers. I wasn't too happy with it. I mean, I love these mittens. You know how I feel about colourwork mittens. But yeah, it's not just a knitting book. I guess that's why I was a bit meh about it, because it has other things and very simple projects and recipes. Yeah, so out of her 4 booklets, probably my least favourite, but it's still something that I'm happy to have bought. And I'm probably gonna get her, what's it called, Colours of Islay, or inspired by Islay. I feel pretty sure that's gonna be ready and for sale at Edinburgh, so that's something I'm gonna just fly over and grab. But these 2 are my favourites. So these are her first 2 proper like thick pattern booklets. So this was her very first. Colours of Shetland. What am I going to show you first? So there's a lovely shawl in here actually. Really pretty one. You see that? It's a hap. Correction, it's a hap. So I said I was going to get the ultra yarn for a Kate Davies cardigan, and this is the cardigan I have in mind. So it's quite the commitment, a lot of colour work, but there's no colour work on the sleeves, and I don't have any sewn in sleeve cardigan or sweater for myself that I have made. So that's about time, and I think this is the right one. And I feel like I could just steek the ultra yarn. I don't think it needs any sewing. I like throwing my pure wool, like rustic yarn knitted stuff in the washer before I steek them. So if you have a hand wash program that you know is not going to felt it, throw it in there, and then it will just stick a bit more to it itself. It's not going to felt literally like shrinking, but it will be a bit more secure. So that's something I will do. So yeah, Colours of Shetland, that I think was what set her like knitting career off. I mean, she's been huge from on Ravelry since the beginning, but that's like her staple, I think, in her career. And there's the yokes. I was just started whisking through it because I really just love this. I mean, look at the yoke on the front cover. I'm sure one day I will make this as well, but I mean, you have the epistrophe in here already, and there is this lovely jumper that uses Icelandic Letlope yarn. Look at that. Oh, can't tell what a fangirl I am. Just everything Kate Davies, I want it. And there's like a huge history section about knitting colourwork yokes and other yokes and how it's coming from all sorts of places, and a trend that was certainly sparked again with Elizabeth Zimmerman and a lot of Scandinavian knitting, and it's just, oh, it makes me so happy. It was such a joy to read. I mean, she's a historian of craft as well, so there's no wonder that those sections are just as enjoyable as the patterns. Okay, we're done gushing, so those are my plans for the future Kate Davies cardigan projects, not cardigans, although they are cardigans. So Miss Rachel and Ursula, and hopefully also a hat of some kind. So yeah, that was my little happy rant. Excited about Edinburgh for today. There's so many things I'm looking forward to. Can I just like finish off this episode with my things I'm looking forward to? So I'm going up there Wednesday, and on Wednesday I'm just gonna hang around in Edinburgh until my friend is off work, and I'm gonna head to her place and stay there. And Thursday probably gonna go back down to Edinburgh, investigate some more, and go to the knit night that the festival has set up. I have booked for the first lot. Might stay for the second one if it's not too crowded. I mean, it's better to let other people in as well, so we'll see. And on Friday it's on. I want to be there when it opens just because I'm that obsessive, and yeah, not gonna apologize for that. Hopefully gonna be able to see lots of friends, people from London who I'm staying with, as well as people I know via this podcast. So I look forward to seeing you guys if you're gonna be there. Gonna hang around the marketplace a lot, but I'm also gonna pop by the podcaster lounge. I mean, I'm just mainly gonna be there as a visitor. I'm not like among the invited podcasts because I'm so late to the party. It's fine. There's so many vendors I'm looking forward to, like midwinter yarns. I'm curious about Old Maid Knot. I know it's going to be very popular, but I don't know what I want yet. I'm going to be looking for a sweater quantities, maybe for the Chuck sweater, so maybe a navy blue or something. I'm going to maybe look at Brooklyn Tweed to see if they sell the yarn a bit cheaper than Loop does. Just that's a nice opportunity for that. In general, I want to look for sweater quantities, because whilst it feels like you're buying so much more, because you just need one project to knit up one sweater quantities. Whereas when I buy lots of mitten yarn, that's going to take a while. There's going to be a lot of mittens. So yeah, sweater quantities I think is on the program, and haps. And I'm also looking forward to John Arbon and Jamieson's of Shetland. And I'm really excited about, I think it's JC Rennie. So that's someone who's been spinning lamb's wool for ages, and I'm just, oh, lamb's wool, I want lamb's wool. And yeah, there's Pearlescence, there is, I think the Latvian kits are going to be there still, although I haven't seen them on the map, but they told me on the Knitting Institute show they would be there. And then there's Travel Knitter and Kettle Yarn, so both from London. I kind of want to buy from them, even though I could technically get them in London. Oh, and there's Shillister, and there's Little Grey Sheep, and I'm just, oh, there's so many I'm looking forward to. I'm not going to be able to stop. And it's kind of funny, my mom asked me if I was going to come home for Grandpa's birthday, because a lot of people are coming to town for that. I told her I didn't have the money, and she was like, yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to pay for you to come, but it's going to be just a lot of people, it's a lot for Grandpa, so maybe I'll just give you the money and have fun in Edinburgh instead. So that's pretty nice. I might be able to buy some more yarn, because, you know, I'm really lacking in yarn, aren't I? Anyway, I think it's time to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, especially when it's like a more unplanned episode. I'm just rushing before I have to start packing and finishing some work before getting off to Edinburgh. So, oh, so excited. Can't even tell you. I've tried to convey this episode. Anyway, I said thank you for watching. It means I'm done. I hope you will have a lovely week, and I will maybe see you next week. And if not, the week after that, and there will be a haul, and hopefully you're looking forward to that as well. So bye.